Okay. Observe. In the last session, we wrote front-end application that is employee Angular application, and we generated some components also. You can just see. Okay, you can just see here. Here, I just want to write form validations today. If you want to write form validations, two things you have to remember. One, you have to apply the conditions or restrictions. Second, you have to check are they valid or not at the time of submitting the form. Okay, what are the types of validations we are going to apply here? Okay, for example, required validation, min length validation, max length validation here. Okay, we are going to apply here. Sorry, min length validation, max length validation, pattern validation. For example, email ID pattern, okay, PAN card pattern. We'll be having different patterns here. Okay, all these validations here. Okay, we are just going to apply here. First, we have to, okay, here two steps are there. Okay, apply validation points, or we can also call rules to input. Okay, check validation rules, error exist. If yes, okay, print error message. Okay, when we have to check the validations, validation should be checked in the three cases. Okay, so if data is modified, that is actually called dirty. Listen carefully. When we have to check the validation, case one, when the data is modified. Okay, when they place cursor and come out. Okay, that is actually called touched. If it is a dirty, touched. Okay, and here data entered is not matching to conditions. Okay, that's actually called invalid. See here, if it is invalid, okay, if it is modified or touched, okay, listen carefully. If it is invalid and that's actually dirty, modified or touched, then we have to do validation. If, okay, show error message. Check one by one and show error message. Look at carefully here, these three only important. These are all in implicit objects handled by ng model. Okay, if we apply here, for every ng model, it is internally going to handle, okay, are they dirty or not? Means the data is modified or not? Is that touched or not? Is that invalid or not? So everything is taken care by this one here. Okay, for example, I am just running backend and front-end applications here. Okay, observe. So 4200. Okay. Now see, when you click on register, it's not having any validation. Look at carefully. First, I just clicked mouse inside that. Hope you're able to listen my voice clearly. I clicked mouse inside this box and came outside. That is actually touched. Okay, I just clicked inside this and come outside. That is called touched. Now look at, initially touched is equals to false. Okay, I place cursor inside and come outside. Now touched is equals to true. That means you just touch the input. Okay. Second, for example, name is Ajay. Now I change it to Sam. Okay, that's actually called dirty. Okay, touched and dirty. What is the meaning of dirty? Old value is replaced with a new value. Our old value is modified. I'll ask same questions again. Please look at. Now third one, I just gave a rule. Minimum length is 4, but I just gave only 2. Okay, that is actually invalid. The given conditions not matching. Okay, that is actually called invalid. In these rules only, we have to check the validations. Listen. Okay, now tell me, what is the meaning of touched? I'm asking to you. You reply. What is the meaning of touched? Very good. So placing the cursor inside the input or touching the input and coming out. Okay, so that is actually called touched. Okay, what is the meaning of dirty? What is the meaning of dirty? Okay, for example, now the value is 200 and came out, it's a touched. Now 200 change it to 300, it's a dirty. Okay, when the old value is modified to new value, that is actually called dirty. Okay, now I just gave minimum value is 500. Minimum value is 500, but you entered 300, that's actually called invalid. If the required validations are not meeting, that is actually called invalid. Okay, min length, max length pattern, here we are just writing. Now look at, I'm just writing one example here. Backend application also we have to start. Eureka server. Admin server. Config server. Employee service. And gateway server. Okay, and front-end application view all. Unable to save. Okay, I think that was not started. Now it's started. Yeah, it's working now. Okay, now see, if you don't add in data, if you click on register also, employee 14 created. Look at employee 14, there is no proper data. It's actually null, 0, nothing. See, I don't want to allow this. Okay, then what to do here? See, if you understand for one input, remaining all are same concept. First, look at. I just want to say name cannot be empty. Okay. So here, when to add what? The first one is actually required. Cannot be empty or not optional. If you want to indicate it's mandatory, then we have to add required. Okay. This is input. Type is there, name is there, ID is there, ng model class is there. Okay, we have all these things here. Look at. So I just want to indicate here, it cannot be empty here. Just I'm writing here, it's required. Okay. Second thing, we have to link EMP name with the ng model. Okay, for validation here. Okay, a template reference variable I'm just creating here. That's actually EMP name. Okay, so that you have to connect with the current ng model object. This is a reference variable. So do you want to check what is happening inside this? Use this variable name. Okay, this is completely object and it's a reference variable. Add a reference variable, add validations, required validations only added here. Next thing. Okay, so here I wrote a div inside that label and input. Okay, so there I'm just writing continuation. There I'm writing continuation. I want to show error cases. Okay, so when to show the error cases, remember, here I'm just writing div. There I'm writing a condition, ng if angular if condition. Okay, first one, we have to take the reference variable. Reference variable, okay, if it is invalid, means conditions not met. Okay, if it is invalid and reference variable, okay, is actually, yeah, it's a invalid. And I want to mention here, it's actually dirty and touched. Dirty or touched. Okay, then we have to check the errors. Okay, what is the first error? Okay, is required is not matching or not here. I'm just checking here. There I'm just taking span. If it is actually, if there is errors object, it's an implicit object actually here. Errors are there. Question mark will check null not null condition here. If data exists, question mark. Then, okay, if it is required exist, then show the required message. Must enter employee name. Okay, I'm just adding a class background. Background color. Okay. That's a page. Okay, come here. Required. Okay, now here I just touched, I came outside. Okay, Ajay, and modify the data came, see, it's a dirty. Okay, and here if it is an invalid even, when you submit even, it is going to show here. When you try to submit even, it is showing employee 16 created, that's fine. Okay, we have to, don't allow even, we have on submit, we have to check all these things. Look at first, click inside and come outside, touched. Ajay, I entered. Now I just remove the data, modify the data, that is actually here, dirty. Okay, dirty. And dirty and untouched, it is actually validating, of course. Okay, here I'm writing continuation. Okay, not only required, I just want to mention some pattern. Okay, pattern, allowed characters are A to Z. A to Z I just want to allow here. Minimum 4 characters and maximum 8 characters. Okay, if pattern is not matching, look at the same line. I'm just typing one more time. Span. Okay, check the condition, ng if. Okay, there I'm writing emp name reference variable. First take template reference variable. Okay, having errors. Okay, what is that error? That's actually called pattern. If the pattern error is there, okay, name must be 4 to 8 uppercase letters. Like this, I'm just writing. Observe carefully. Now, loading the form, touch, come outside. I'm just typing AJ. Okay, that is dirty. Okay, AY, Y removed. That's a dirty. And dirty it is showing here. Now remove everything. Okay, that conditions checking. All conditions match or not. Okay, no, not matching. It is showing error. Look at carefully. This is generic condition. This is generic coding. Messages changes and this one changes. Look at in the place of emp name, some other things will come. This is generic syntax. Okay, there's a template reference variable. Dash indicates input reference variable. For that input, we are going to write a dash symbol hash dash is equals to, we have to write something like ng model. Okay, that's a reference variable. You can just see. If it's required is there, pattern is there, or whatever the condition that you apply, that's actually going to be validated. Okay, pattern to provide, okay, regular expression to input. Shall we write one more for clarity? Okay, now observe carefully. Let us take some, I am just repeating per second salary. Okay, first go and see, look at step by step. First go and see for salary. Salary must be entered. So that is actually required. Okay, salary min length. Okay, salary minimum value is actually 0. Salary maximum value, it's unlimited if your wish. If it is the age, we can give limit. Salary, I think unlimited. Okay, I'm just giving for testing purpose. Okay, 5,000. Just example. It's a required minimum 0, maximum 500. If we enter 600 also, 6,000 also, we don't allow. Okay, 5,001 also, we don't allow. Okay, 5,000.00. Like this, we can give. Or minimum 1. Okay, like this, I'm writing some validations. Okay, second, okay, whatever the name we have, please create a reference variable. It's a link, emp sal. Okay, there we have to write int. No, it's a link. Okay, apply all your conditions, then create a reference variable. Now look at here, I'm writing. I'm just writing a div. Look at the condition, ng if. When we have to show the errors, we have to show the errors if it is invalid. If it is invalid, okay, it's a modified or touched. If it is invalid and modified or touched, then we have to show this. Okay, then we have to show this one. Observe. Okay, I'm writing if. I'm just taking it's a emp sal dot invalid, and if emp sal is modified dirty, or if emp sal is touched, then we have to do validations. Okay, if it is invalid, dirty or touched, then I'm writing here. Okay, now here I'm writing first of all span. Okay, so there I'm writing emp sal ng if. Okay, so if emp sal having errors, what errors? If it's a required error, please enter salary. I'll show this. Okay, if it is minimum is not matching, you enter some 0 or negative value. Okay, then what we are going to show here. Okay, if errors is actually minimum error. Okay, salary must be greater than 1. more than 1. Okay, if it is a maximum error, okay, salary must be less than or equals to 5%. Like this, I'm writing. Some color I just want to add here, class text hyphen deficit. See, reference variable, conditions, check if it is invalid and dirty or touched. Okay, so here, this is same concept for all. Let us come here. What is missing? Min does not exist on type employee registered component. Does not exist. Sorry. Single quotes, single quotes, single quotes. Okay. See, I'm just removing 0. It's a dirty. 2. I'm just changing to -9. I'm just changing to 8500. Are you able to see? Okay, these are actually reactive. Completely, it's a reactive process. Okay, you need not to click on submit button. Even when you click on submit button or disable submit button in case of errors, we'll see that one. Okay, I'll show that at last. First, understand this concept, then remaining are easy. Touched. Of course, just it's a touched. Ajay, 30 invalid cases. When you click on submit invalid, we have to check. Okay, shall I write one more example? Gender only we have to write actually required. We cannot write any pattern here. Okay, for all these things it is same, even address. Okay, let me come to radio button and drop down later. Let us come to address. After finishing text inputs, we'll go in the order one by one. Yeah, just only these things. First look at this, I just want to validate. Step number 1, create a template reference variable. Symbol hash is equals to ENG model. Step number 2, it's a required. This is actually needs pattern. Okay, what is the pattern you want? A to Z, small a to Z. Okay, even dot, comma, dash, space, what else? 0 to 9. 0 to 9 allowed. Okay, minimum 10 characters and maximum 100 characters. Okay, space allowed, dash allowed, dot allowed. Okay, colon allowed. Okay, you can just mention. These are the symbols allowed. You can add whatever you want here. These are front-end validations. Still, it's not over. In the back-end also, we have to write validations. I'll show that. Okay. So there is a Hibernate validator API. Did you listen at a time? Not null, pattern, like we are going to apply back-end validations also. We'll come one by one. I'll go in the order. I don't want to confuse you. Okay. Just look at. Step 1, first reference any name. Need not to be same name, but generally we take same name instead of having confusion. You can write any name, sir. Please look at EMP ATTR. You can write ABCD, but generally we recommend same name. ID name only we are going to recommend. Okay, next. Okay, add some validations. Look at carefully. Div ngIf. Yeah, this is same. We can write here. I mentioned right. EMP ATTR dot invalid and this is touched, dirty or touched, dirty, touched. Like this, I just mentioned here. Okay, now I'm writing spam. Just I'm writing ng if. First check it. EMP-ADDR errors. Okay, then box with single quote. Okay, if it is required. Okay, just I'm entering here. Please enter address if it's required. Okay, if pattern is not matching, then what is the error we have to show? There I'm writing again span ng if EMP-ADDR reference variable name, not ID name, reference variable name, EMP-ADDR errors are there, implicit object. Okay, it's actually what pattern. Okay, pattern must be 10 to 100 chars allowed, A to Z, small a to Z, 0 to 9, dot, comma, dash, and space. Like already. Come here, just click inside and outside. Please enter address, but color is not good. Then what you can write here? You can apply a class. Text hyphen danger. Of course, you can change background color also. Like, okay, whatever the interest that you can design. Lot of designs are there. I'm not highlighting the designing point. Okay. What is this? So here we mention. Okay. Now let me show some validations for this one even. Okay, see, the value is actually empty. If the value is actually empty, we have to show some message. Please choose any one option. Okay, value should not be empty here. Okay, there should be some any one value selected here. And even radio buttons, if you look at here, radio buttons, okay, first one and second one both are not clicked. Okay, both are not clicked. Then we have to show some error message. Hope you are following my point. Yeah, let me give notes up to this. Step number 1, create a reference variable that is called template reference. Template reference to input. For example, we have input tag symbol hash is equals to ng model. Any name in place of dash. Step number 2, add validations to input. Okay, for example, input we have, what are the validations we can add? Required, min, max, what else we can write? Pattern. Size. Here all the validation structure is there. You can see. Invalid, dirty or touched. They are just showing the class alert format, of course. Okay, you can write all the errors here. You can just see a reference document also I'm just giving. Okay, like this. Step number 3, write a div condition to check reference dot invalid and reference dot dirty or reference dot touched. Okay, then check one by one error and print message. In the syntax of reference dot errors exist, then that error type, if it's required, then message what message you want. You write this in div tag and span tag here like this. Okay, errors object. Here errors is an implicit object. Handled by Angular forms for every input or reference. For every reference, implicitly errors is there. Errors for EMP name, errors for EMP sal. If errors are not there, it won't print any message. Okay, then by default, it's actually going to be true. Okay, now finally, what we have to do, okay, we have to take the form. For the form also, I'm just going to create a reference variable. Okay, this is a form, right? Where is form? Yeah, form. Here I'm just creating a reference variable. Something, this is employee form. Like this, I'm just creating a reference variable. Okay, so this one, I just want to know, is this form having complete errors or not? If there are no errors, I just want to enable the button, else disable the button here. This is ng form. Okay, just I'm taking this one. When we have to show submit button. Okay, so here submit button, I just want to disable by default. I just want to disable by default. Okay, employee form, implicit object form, if it is invalid. See, it's disabled by default. Are you able to see? You cannot submit now. Okay, now what I'm just doing, Ajay, salary, it's a 1, it's a AA. B, C, E, D, E, F. Now button is enabled. Remove, disabled. Okay, I'm just writing again. Okay, just change it to 0, disabled. Are you able to see? Okay, R0 change it to 33, again enabled. Now remove Ajay, it's disabled. Yeah. Okay, I'll show for radio buttons and drop downs bit different. So here you can see. Only 2 steps. Step number 1, give a reference variable to form. Okay, and step, don't worry, I'll repeat the same thing for our operations too. And disabled is equals to. This is form is implicit object. Okay, if any one input is invalid, complete form is invalid. Step number 4, at form tag, create a form reference variable. Dash example. Step number 4, disable submit button if form is invalid. When form is invalid? Form is invalid if any one form input is invalid. Okay, see, when form is invalid, one input is invalid, then complete form is invalid. When form is valid, if all form inputs are valid, then it is valid. This is implicitly handled. You need not to change it to valid, invalid positions and all. By default, they are actually taken care. Okay, and button. Okay, this type, let this be, this is important here. Line number 70 is important. I'm just giving today's code, whatever the code I just wrote. Only HTML form I just modified. Employee register dot component dot HTML. Nothing I just modified today. Backend code and everything is same. Employee register component dot HTML. Are you clear so far? Understood everyone? And not to worry, for other modules also we'll give this one. Entire project already shared. Okay, on last week. You can just check in the classroom. Where is that? Where is that? Okay, here you can see full CRUD link is updated here. You can just go through this one. Okay, after 8th Jan, I did not do any modification. Okay. We have few more concepts. Mostly by 10th or 11th, we start the major project. Okay, few more concepts are there. Yeah, I'll share one more time link, not a issue here. First. No, that's not video, that's a code link. Here, classroom. After this, I did not modify anything. Okay. Hello, 1, 2, 3. Hello, 1, 2, 3. Hello, 1, 2, 3. Sorry. We'll continue. So here, radio button, only there is no pattern. Radio button, we are not going to enter anything manually. Just only one validations will be there required. Hope you're getting my point. Only one validations will be there. It's required. It's a required validation. Okay. So here, for this, I'm just going to add a template reference variable. It's actually emp gen ng model. So